Hey everyone, it's Michael GoosebumpsFan. Today we're going to be talking about the newest Goosebumps video game that came out called Goosebumps Dead of Night. Of course, this is available for Nintendo Switch, the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, but not all at the same time, which was a really bad sign immediately to me that this game was going to be a little sloppy, a little messy. And lo and behold, it did. I think a lot of people are more disappointed with this game than what we thought we would be. It's such an unbalanced game too, and that's what's so frustrating about this. If I come across extremely negative in this review, I want to let you know that I enjoy certain parts of the game. For example, I like that it's easier. It's kind of aimed more at younger kids than it is an adult. And that's fine. I'm cool with that. I actually prefer games that are done that way, just because it's a little bit easier. People like myself can play the game, but I'm going to let you know up front, I didn't buy the game. I watched a walkthrough on YouTube, because the biggest sin for this game, it's like an hour, maybe an hour and a half. I watched a person on YouTube playing it that did a walkthrough. It was in 2 parts, about 2 hours long. But I think with all the deaths still included in the game where he kept dying and getting caught and whatnot over and over again, it was too long. The game overall might be an hour and a half. But they're charging you $40 for this game. Now, I myself have spent a lot of money on certain Goosebumps books that are rare and hard to find. I'm not going to act like you're an idiot for buying a $40 game. I'm not going to act like that at all. I'm just saying, for me right now, for a new Goosebumps game, I ain't paying that much for it. Plus, it's not even with a disc or anything, you know? It's insulting. Of course, Goosebumps Dead of Night, a lot of us, when the trailer came out about a month ago, we were all kind of like, this looks just like Night of Scares, the app that came out. It was a video game that came out for the iOS and phones and whatnot, cell phone game, mobile game. My voice cracked, excuse me. How embarrassing. Whatever. We all said this looked like just like a mobile game that was like a sequel to Dead of Night, or to Night of Scares, which came out in 2015, 5 years ago. These graphics, the music, almost everything about this game is identical to that first mobile game. And if I had to argue, the first like half of the game is literally just the mobile game. It really is. Now, for anybody who doesn't know the plot of this, before I delve too far in details without going, really covering the plot a little bit. Of course, this is spoiler free, so if you're playing the game or if you want to play the game, don't worry, I'm not going to ruin anything for you, but there are some things I do want to talk about that just make this game even more insulting and even more of a slap in the face to us Goosebumps fans who constantly find ourselves put on the back burner of things that are cared about with Scholastic and video game world and whatnot, movie world, all those things. The plot is basically just like the mobile game, which is kind of a sequel / in-betweener of the Goosebumps movies, from 2015, 2018, 17? I think it was 17 for Haunted Halloween. But anyway, it's kind of an in-betweener for the first game. This one is like a direct sequel to Haunted Halloween, I'm not going to spoil anything about that, but we know that something happened with R.L. Stine, the character that Jack Black plays at the end of Haunted Halloween. He gets kind of in a trap, and this particular game starts up in that same place. And I didn't mind that. The problem is that the game mechanics are identical to Night of Scares, the original game from 2015 that tied into the first Goosebumps movie. You're basically sneaking around trying to find pages to a diary that are R.L. Stine's books pages and R.L. Stine's narration voice, which, by the way, Jack Black came back to play Slappy and to play, himself, R.L. Stine. And he was fantastic. I was really surprised to see Jack Black come back, but when you look on his IMDb page, he's not listed for doing anything. He literally is not listed at all. So I'm a little surprised with what happened here. I don't understand why there's no page on IMDb for this. Pretty much IMDb has mostly movies, but it also has video games. Pretty much anything from the 90s onward. I mean, even things like Doom and Doom 2 that don't have like voice acting, they're listed in there because of the people who worked on them and whatnot. And I love IMDb just because I love looking and learning more things about people that I love for actors and actresses and movies and trivia and all kinds of stuff like that. So I stay pretty involved with that. I know all the little tricks and trades of how to find certain things you're trying to look for that sometimes aren't listed the right proper way. But this is not listed in Jack Black's career. It's not. It's really not. So I don't know if it's leftover material for when he did Night of Scares from way back in 2015 or what. It wouldn't surprise me. Because the second half of the game almost has a completely different narrator. And I won't tell you who that is. It's kind of tied to Haunted Halloween, but, still. This game is a big disappointment. Not only because of the price, but because of... It doesn't know what it wants to be. It's clearly supposed to be a mobile game. that eventually when you get to the second half of the game, it expands into like a console game, very much a BioShock feeling type of thing, but for kids. And I like that. That's cool. It ain't worth $40. It's not. It's like 45 minutes of that gameplay, plus the first 45 minutes where you're sneaking around the house, avoiding Slappy and getting jump scared. God, there's so many jump scares in this game. Dude, you have no idea how many jump scares are in this game. One of my favorites is when Slappy, you're about to go down a hallway, and he just goes running across the room, but he's on the ceiling. I can't even talk. I'm biting my own tongue, plus the phone's ringing out there. Excuse me, I'm getting distracted. But Slappy comes running across the ceiling, and I about jumped out of my skin, right? There's a lot of monsters in here that you saw from the trailer. Not like a ton of monsters, but a lot of monsters that you're probably familiar with from the movies, and mostly the movies, because they look just like the movie versions. For example, the Werewolf of Fever Swamp is in this. Murder the Clown is in this. He looks just like the Murder the Clown that we saw from the first Goosebumps movie. And Murder the Clown, if I had to argue, he's one of the scariest things to fight in here. Well, not really fight, but hide from. This is mostly a stealth-type game, sort of, kind of, for kids, where you're hiding in boxes and hiding in closets and whatnot. Kind of like that video game called Granny. If you've heard of Granny, if you've played that, it's spooky, it's eerie, you're trying to hide from this grandmother zombie-looking thing that's chasing you around. And, like, you'll have to hide under the bed and you'll see her feet walking by. It's kind of the same concept for this game, which is just the same thing that Night of Scares did back way in the day in 2015, 5 years ago. This is not a good game, really. I know a lot of people I've seen who played it, like the person who I watched called the Gaming Hub, said that they really enjoyed it, and that's cool. You know, it is what it is. Not me. Not me, honestly. It has its moments. I like that it's a sequel to the films, mainly Haunted Halloween. Has a lot of stuff referencing Tesla, you know, not the car Tesla, but, you know, Nikola Tesla, which is a big part of Haunted Halloween, including the finale. It has a lot of ties to that. That BioShock feel in the second half of the game is kind of cool. There is one particular villain that came from a particular book. It's one of the earliest books from Goosebumps, that the design for this character was petrifying when you saw him in a certain area in the second half of the game. It's not like this is a complete loss, but it's not worth $40. I would highly recommend you just wait. Just don't buy it yet. Just wait. You're going to be disappointed if you buy this now, because it's not worth the $40. I mean, it should be like 10. It honestly should be 10, because it's clearly using the old, the old mechanics, the old setups, the old designs for characters and whatnot. Barely any new characters designed for this game. Like I said, the first half of the game is very clearly the old mobile game, redesigned a little bit, you know, certain things done here or there. But other than that, I mean, there's not really anything to offer here for you. For $40? For like 2 hours? Not even that, like an hour and a half? Like, what? Are you crazy? Scholastic has constantly, in recent years, put us on the back burner, just like how Sony is with Goosebumps. And it's one of the reasons why I'm worried so much about the new Goosebumps TV show they're making. I have no faith in them, almost. I put up some videos trying to hopefully get some Sony people to watch and get some ideas from us in the comments and whatnot, when everybody's commenting on the stuff, because we want fans to actually have a chance to be on the front burners and on the... We want to be put in the forefront, because it matters. It really does, because when you're not serving the fan base, you're not really serving anybody. If you're trying to bring in all these other people who don't care about Goosebumps, you're wasting our time as fans. I mean, we're all big fans here, I think. Look down in the comments section. Anybody who's watching this video, we're all big fans of this. I think most of us can agree that this game is cheap. I mean, it's cheaply made. Not cheap to purchase, but cheap to make. It's insulting. It's the kind of thing that happened with the Goosebumps Haunted Halloween film. I mean, I like the film a lot, just like how I like this game in a lot of ways, but it's not as good as it should have been. It's not as... They weren't as careful, whatever I want to say with that. You know what I mean? It's not something that was important enough to them to give us a really good quality game, or in the other case with the Haunted Halloween movie, a good movie. It's a shame. It's a slap in the face to us fans who are big fans. It's kind of like what's happened in recent years with Stephen King. A lot of Stephen King adaptations had the same issue in the recent years. You have things like Dr. Sleep that I still don't understand why people love that to death. The book is great. The movie is boring. Just bored the crap out of me. I love the book, but the movie bored me to tears. But anyway, it seems like I'm kind of in this place where I'm one of the only people who doesn't like this game. It seems like. When I look on Facebook on the pages there, and that's cool, by the way, but when I look on Facebook's pages for Goosebumps fan pages and whatnot, I see a lot of people talking about how much they love this and they're having a great time playing it. And I'm thankful that you are. I'm really glad you are. my standards are higher than yours, because I just have this idea that half this game is clearly a little bit of a remodeling, but not by much. Not like a Resident Evil remake type thing. It's just a slight enhancement of the old mobile game from 2015, plus another chapter of it added onto the end of the book, or end of the game, and it's just... I'm not paying for it. You didn't pay $40 back in the day for the old game. You got it for free, you know? So why are you paying for this when half the game is the old game? I know. A lot of people find it worthwhile. I don't, personally. I would buy the video games. I've played Horrorland. I've watched walkthroughs of some of the other older games from the 90s and the early 2000s. I've reviewed them here on my channel. I'm a big Goosebumps fan. Of course, you can tell from my channel I am. But this is insulting, and I find it kind of sad, frankly, because Scholastic just doesn't care, and I don't entirely blame them. You know, I really don't. I don't blame them entirely, but the people putting this out, they ought to be ashamed of themselves too. And I was worried when I saw the trailer pop up about a month ago, and then it released like 2 days, or not 2 days, but about 2 weeks later it pops up all of a sudden, everybody's feed, everybody's talking about it being released. They didn't even give us a real date, it just kind of dropped out of nowhere. And it was cool when Five Nights at Freddy's used to do that. It's not cool when one of my favorite series ever is doing that and they drop a cheap, lame game on us. I don't know. I'm just really crushed by this. The graphics are like PlayStation 2 quality, which I'm cool with. I don't care. I love the PlayStation 2. It's one of my first consoles, that and the PlayStation 1. Love those graphics in a nostalgic way. For $40? No. Absolutely not. You don't deserve that, personally. Anyway, guys, that's pretty much my review for Goosebumps Dead of Night. I know I can't review and comment on the control scheme and whatnot. There's not really anything here. There's like a run button, which I don't think was in the old Night of Scares game. But Dead of Night is just... I want to like it a lot more than I actually do. There's little fragments here and there that I like, but for the most part, I feel insulted by this. I feel like it's a scam, you know? Not really a scam. You're getting your project. I don't want to call it a scam, but I feel like it's a ripoff, frankly, for sure. Not a scam, but a ripoff. But anyway, when it comes to Goosebumps Dead of Night, again on Switch and PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, if I had to rate this game on a 5-star basis, I'd give it like... I don't know. I had no engagement with this. There were certain scenes, like the scene with Slappy in the cellar, that was really good. Really cool. I actually really dug that. It was a little tricky, a little spooky. There's some atmosphere in that scene. Not really a whole lot in the game, but that was pretty decent, I think. The Murder of the Clown stuff was really great. The Werewolf of Fever Swamp was kind of... It was what it was. You know, I didn't love that. The monsters are relatively decent. Relatively. If I had to rate this on a 5-star basis, I'd give it like... I like Night of Scares a lot. I really do. So the first half of this game being that, it's kind of bad to call this a bad game and give it a bad review. I give it like an underscore or anything like that. So I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 stars just because that first half is a ripoff of the first game, Night of Scares, but it's also not a bad ripoff because Night of Scares is good. I like Night of Scares, but it's a free game for your phone. 3 out of 5 stars. It's well done in a lot of ways. I like the simplicity to it. I think it's very much more aimed at young gamers. An older adult gamer like myself is not going to have a hard time with this. I don't really call myself a gamer. I'm not really good at games, but I could play this and beat it. If I can play it and beat it, then it's very easy. Trust me. There's no real puzzles or anything to this. Not really at all. Nothing complicated, which is fine because it's a kid's property. I'm cool with that. But I think a lot of gamers, especially older people who are, you know, in their 30s and early 20s, late 20s, that were big Goosebumps fans in the 90s and early 2000s, I think a lot of you are going to be disappointed if you're a big gaming person, especially if you're able to beat things like Dark Souls. You're going to hate this. It's really weak sauce, you know? Anyway, 3 out of 5 stars for me. I'm sorry for rambling so much. I just wanted to really get out my feelings about how insulting this is. I mean, it really rubs me the wrong way when I see companies pull this kind of thing. But I wanted to make sure I was honest with you. I wanted to make sure I was fair. And I hope I was. So anyway, what are your thoughts on Goosebumps Dead of Night? What console did you get it on? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was stupid? Did you think it was good? I would love to hear everything you have to say down in the comment section down below, just because it's such a weird topic. You know, everybody's saying they love it, and I don't get it. I really don't. It's got its moments, but I don't know. Anyway, what are your thoughts? Put them down below, guys. Thank you for watching, and may the Lord Jesus Christ bless you guys today, and goodbye.